Welcome to Uncaged. Today we're speaking with Max Nikolaev. We're going to learn a lot about energy and talking about that energy transition that's happening around the world. Max is the Senior Vice President at Carbo. Carbo is a major player in this space, and we'll talk more about what Carbo is up to in the broader energy mining and foundry and agricultural spaces. But before we get there, Max, tell us a little bit about you and your career. I've seen that you spent a bit of time in Texas. I'm expecting your cowboy hat to be on here.
Absolutely, y'all. How are you? Yeah. So my name is Max. Thank you so much again. I'm an energy transition enthusiast, agri-tech enthusiast, growth strategist, and leadership advisor. I have around about 20 years of career experience in a variety of the verticals, and I had an opportunity to work in many different functions, mainly due to starting my career after the school with Schlumberger, SLB. Some people know the culture of Schlumberger is actually to pull people out from the school and grow within to the management and executive levels. And they put you through a very rigorous training path, as well as to different positions and different functions. And that way, they basically personnel gains the resilience, the knowledge, and appreciations of different functions. So, as an example, I had about 10 different roles and 6 different functions and 5 different locations in my 15 years journey. And I started as a field engineer in Siberia, continued as design engineer, customer success rep, moved to supply chain, procurement, sourcing, inventory management, spent a few years progressing in category management, moved to portfolio management, marketing, and all of those roles in the last 15 years for me been global in nature. But that also helped me to understand the different cultural nuances, global trade complexities, and some regional specifics and limitations and opportunities. So gaining all this luggage of skills trained me to be more resilient and always hungry for new information, stay on high pace of personal development as well.
Well, I find, Max, that in our world, everything seems to always boil back to energy, whether it be the pace or acceleration of an economy. It's all about, well, can we get access to energy? Can we do it efficiently? And when it's not efficient, it's about sustainable. How can we make it sustainable? How can we make sure that it meets all of the guidelines to, let's say, make sure that we have a planet in the future, climate in the future. So lots of issues always boiling back to energy. Now, you find yourself now at Carbo. Tell me a little bit about your remit there and what the company's working on.
Yeah, I've been with Carbo for 3 years. Carbo is a leading manufacturer of ceramic media that is finded applications in multiple verticals. One of them being energy, oil and gas, or solar. It could be foundry, mining, agriculture, emerging markets, water filtration, and many other applications. The way we are connected with oil and gas or energy area is 45 years ago when Carbo was formed. It was formed because of one product that we put on the market, which is Carbo HSP, Carbo product that was delivering high strength properties to the people who were doing fracturing campaigns at that time. And that's what they were looking for to make sustainable oil productions and increase the energy throughput in the US and beyond. So as you mentioned correctly, everything links to energy. Now that you listen to all these economists and macroeconomics findings, all the GDP growth and the growth that the entire humanity made from and bringing people from poverty to mid class or beyond poverty level was because of access to energy. As soon as people getting access to electricity, thermal energy, etc., it gives up opportunities for industrial opportunities, consumer opportunities, etc. So the energy is the driver of the growth for our planet. And you're right, a lot of people are concerned about the sustainability of it. how much more energy we have, can we get a more sustainable and less impactful, less emission energy. And as Carbo, we're looking into those as well. Our customers are companies that are producing oil and gas, and also the customers who are building solar towers and solar farms. So we're working with both ends, and we are for energy transition. The problem is what we see right now is it cannot happen overnight. So the infrastructure that supports oil and gas has been built for 100 years. Everything that we have today, everything, pipelines, gas stations, engines, etc., they all powered by the oil and gas. The first transition we need to do is the transition, kind of a similar transition we've done in the past when we moved from coal to oil. Now we need to move from oil to gas. That's the more quicker solution than dropping everything and go to solar. I'm not saying we shouldn't be doing this, but it's just going to take a little bit of time to transition to a complete or even more sustainable energy sources.
Well, Max, I mean, you're in the UK. If you went all solar, I think there would be a massive blackout across your country. So after living there for many, many years. But
That's exactly right.
I mean, if you look at the energy sector today, there's probably not a media publication around the world that doesn't have several stories about energy in some form or fashion every day. And, we see some of the challenges in, various markets, the European markets challenged on energy. What do you see right now? Where are we right now? What are the kind of the key topics that are driving the space?
Well, it's the market is interesting, and it's very compartmentalized, if you will. If you look at the U.S. dynamics and you look at the international dynamics, they're a little bit different. And the nature of this as well is whether it's a regulated market, where you're looking at the national security. So, countries like Saudi Arabia, UAE, and others. They have a lot of national companies that are making decisions and extraction of oil and gas, or even building solar resources and wind resources and wind farms. So for them, it's a life or death situation in a sense to be energy independent, and every country wants to be energy independent. And on top of it, they want to play a substantial international role with the energy sources, whether it's a regional or global in nature, where they're trying to push their agenda through those energy trades. So getting back to your original question, the dynamics is different. However, what we see, oil price kind of balance off high values right now. It's kind of stabilized. We're seeing that OPEC is not willing to increase production, so they're looking at balancing supply, which is a good thing for the industry. It's etc. But as everyone who spent a few years in oil and gas says, if I would have a crystal ball, what's going to happen tomorrow, I would be rich. The problem is it's such a volatile industry, and so many factors plugged into this trade and supply and demand situation that any war, conflict, or geopolitical or political decision can completely change the landscape overnight. And it can take us to a very high cost of energy sources, or very low ones, which will impact the investments into the future energy resources and reserves.
Well, I think, Max, one of the things that you said up front is it's really getting on a path, but that path may be longer, maybe more nuanced than sometimes people want it to be, right? Or envision it to be. I mean, some of the announcements recently from the automotive sector, where we're seeing, companies in Europe as well as in the US pull back some of their activities in electric vehicles, I think is really a testament to some of the challenges that they're seeing in terms of customer adoption of these new technologies, but also really just the rollout, how to scale a rollout, how to scale these activities efficiently, effectively for everyone. But Max, I mean, what an interesting sector to find yourself in and to build a career in. Tell me a little bit about why and how did you end up doing what you do?
Well, I was born and raised in north of Siberia in a very small town where almost everyone was working in the gas industry. That was the Gazprom, a Russian national producer based out of. And I think about 80% of the Russian gas was flowing through the pipelines near the city. So the only vision for a small kid over there was to join this pipeline and join this organization as a that would be deemed a success. So what
Mhm.
I've done, I've went to the University of Oil and Gas, dreaming about joining Gazprom at the time, and that opened up my mind completely because I was no longer in a small city. I was in Moscow, and I've met great people, and I've met great mentors as well who showed me different opportunities in the world. And one of my friends, mom, she told me, she's like, I think you're a Schlumberger profile. And I was like, I don't know what Schlumberger is. And she's like, no, I think like I work with them, every day. And I think you kind of a Schlumberger person. And I was whatever, third grade, whatever, year in university. So I started researching, and she kind of paved the path for me. So I went to Schlumberger application website, went through the interviews, got hired by Schlumberger, and here I am, 15 years later. I left Schlumberger for a different opportunity, but it was a fun ride, and
Yeah.
that's how I end up in kind of in a system that
Yeah.
was pulling and challenging and moving me in different places.
Yeah, well, what an exciting path. And certainly it sounds like you're one of those folks that really grew up in it and have seen the industry really from every angle around the world. And certainly now we see continued change. Max, if you look out in 2024 and where things are going, what's on the horizon for us?
Well, I think 2024 is going to be challenging, and I know it's not a political conversation, but the fact that about 2 billion people are actually going through election process this year
Mm,
means a lot. This
yeah.
process already started in some countries, and it will continue, playing along, during the year. Some of the elections results are already known, even though elections haven't been launched yet. But some of them are very unexpected. We don't know what's going to come. And when the major change in the governance happen, we can expect major decisions, and those could be positive and negative, and they can come with pros and cons. So with all this story, I think it's a time of uncertainty this year.
Mm,
I think we're going to see a lot of changes from the newly elected governments and
hmm.
officials, and that will impact how we trade, how we do business, how we invest, how we collaborate with different countries. For us as a company, for Carbo, we are a global company. More than 50% of our revenue comes from international trade. What we see today is even war issues, right? Going all over the place. So we have issues
Hmm.
in Black Sea, we have issues in the Red Sea, we have
Hmm.
Panama Canal issues. So just to ship a container of goods becoming a challenge, and you have to be an expert on top of the notch logistics genius
Yeah.
to make things happen for your customers.
Yeah, I've the logistics challenges continue to increase. I would say there was a moment there during the pandemic where everything seemed to almost grind to a halt, and now it seems to have been reinvented, but we're kind of going through that unstable moment of what that reinvention will look at and how it works for companies. Max, what an interesting space. Thank you so much for being on Uncaged. If someone wanted to reach you and learn more about what you and the Carbo team are doing, where's the best place to find you?
Well, the best place to find me personally would be on the LinkedIn. I'm very active on LinkedIn. Please find me, Max Bran Nikolaev. You probably will have the reference to my LinkedIn page at the comment section. If you're interested in Carbo, carboceramics.com is our website. Please come check us out and make a contact.
Well, Max, it's been great having you on the show, and that's right. I mean, Max, I'm looking at your LinkedIn page right now. It's Max, and then in brackets, Bran N dot. So that's the man that you need to find to know more about Carbo, to talk about energy transition and energy. Max, what a career you've had. Exciting times. I think I'll keep my fingers crossed that things stay stable around the world, relatively speaking, and we can
Right.
continue to move forward. But again, thanks so much for being on the Uncaged show, and we look forward to having you back.
Thank you, Ben.